Welcome. Okay, Build out here, and I want to talk about in this video managing projects in the hybrid agile waterfall world, right? I said it before on this channel, I'll say it again, long past are the days in IT where we're just managing waterfall projects. Pure waterfall projects are just, they're still there, right? But we've gone to more agile principles, right? And over the last several years, we've seen agile, we've seen DevOps, we've seen scaled agile, all as alternatives to running pure waterfall projects, right? It's an exciting time for IT projects, right? Because we have to adjust to our fast and our changing business environment, and our methodologies have to adjust as well. I'm not saying there's not waterfall out there. I see waterfall projects all the time being ran very, very successful. And there's a place for waterfall. We just have to think about the other project environments as well and the development methodologies. I've been in the project management industry for 31 years, and when I first started in IT, all we had was waterfall. Again, agile wasn't even a concept. It wasn't even created back then, right? We're talking about the early 90s. There was no such thing as the Agile Manifesto. In the early 90s, that just wasn't a thing, right? It was actually created February 11th to the 13th in 2001. So I'd already been a project manager for 11 years prior to even before the Agile Manifesto was even created. So yes, I've been around for a long time, and I've been around since the very beginning of Agile. So for some of us who've been managing projects for a long time, right, all we ever had was waterfall. So yes, because of that, right, I got a great story. And it's a really great story around how we tried to bring Agile into our IT environment. I was working for a large software company in Redmond, Washington at the time. And in IT, I was part of the project that brought in Agile for the very first time. Want to hear this story? Okay, before I do though, right, and I tell you the story, quick reminder, if you like this type of topic, you like these stories, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, right? Because I'm always releasing new videos. Okay, but before I tell the story, continue to the story, I have to ask you a question. For your IT projects, are you running Agile? Are you running Waterfall? Are you running Scaled Ops? Are you running Scaled Agile? Are you running DevOps? Or again, all right, are you running a hybrid? Because really we're seeing more and more hybrids. Hit the comments, tell me down below in the comments. I am dying to hear this. Okay, are you ready for my story? Because it's a good one, all right? So as I said, I was part of a project team that was tasked with bringing in Agile into IT. This was the very first time. We had not had Agile before. Now remember, right, this was a long time ago. This was in roughly 2005 or so. Agile was created in 2000. This is roughly 2005. So it was a couple of years after, right? And I was on the project team, and we were running a project, but we decided to bring in Agile for the first time while still running this project. So we had a Scrum Master. I was a project manager. We had a product owner, we had developers, we had testers. It was the typical IT development team. And we were working on a project, but again, the takeaway was work on the project, build the project, but also figure out how we can bring Agile and Agile principles and processes into the organization, right? Because we were going to start using Agile. But here's the interesting part of the story. And when we talk about other companies, and we did talk to other companies that were bringing in Agile, when they implemented Agile, they were doing everything by the book, right? And what I mean by the book was, and again, they were following the Agile Manifesto to a T, right? Seriously, we saw lots of chicken and pig, Agile chicken and pig cartoons and stories and who's committed and who's not committed and blah, blah, blah. But it was all by the book because we were bringing in for the first time and people felt like, hey, we got to do this by the book and be as strict as possible. So the thing is, though, there was no role for a project manager. But I was a project manager on the project, right? And so leadership said, hey, you got to have a project manager. I get it by the book and I get the manifesto and blah, blah, blah. But you got to have a project manager. So it was very awkward. And it really wasn't a pleasant experience. And I can tell you, I had to have very thick skin and a very strong constitution to be a project manager on an agile project that early in the world of agile, because there was no role, right? So much so that I literally got kicked out of a meeting during the meeting because they only wanted the agile team member. The Scrum Master said to me, and I remember the words directly, "Bill, please leave this meeting. You are not part of the agile team. There's no role for a project manager. This is a team meeting. This is an agile team meeting. You need to leave the meeting right now." Think about that for a second. Think about, in hindsight, how I would handle that. But think about that for a second. There's no role for a project manager, and they literally asked me in front of 10 people, whatever it was, to lead the meeting because I wasn't part of the project. Again, think about how rude that was. Let's move on, right? But the bigger question here was, why was management and IT still demanding a project manager? Why did management say we still have to have a project manager on a pure agile project, one agile team, one project? Oh, but by the way, we have to run it. We have to have a project manager. And we're running it by the book, right? Well, that's because back then to today, many companies that implement agile do so. They want to implement agile, right? And they want to have those agile concepts, right? But what does that really mean, right? All right, that's all I have for now. What do you think? Comment below. I'm kidding. It means our executive team members, right, have not engaged in the agile process. They're not all that bought in, right? Agile teams don't have all the money in the world. They don't have all the time in the world. They can't just keep creating countless numbers of sprints. They don't have all the resources in the world, right? No, our executive teams are still asking these three fundamental questions. When does it go live? How much will it cost? And how many resources are you using? Okay? Most companies, most executives still ask those same questions. So, what does that mean, right? Until we see the change of the mindset of our executives, right? Until we see the executives go all in and do everything clearly and simply by the book of Agile, which means one Agile team working on one Agile project, right? Back to what the manifesto said directly back in the early 2000s. Right? Single-threaded teams on a single project with one goal. We're going to have to continue to run these hybrid environments, these water scrums, agile, right? We've seen and heard all those terms. I want to be clear. I'm in an environment now where we're all waterfall, right? Healthcare is a lot of waterfall. We're trying to do agile, and we're trying to do some of the agile principles, and I love agile. I'm a Scrum Master. I was part of that original team. I've ran agile teams. I've been, involved in agile for a very, very long time. And so I really do love the principles of agile. But until we can get those executives really thinking outside the box and really stop asking how much will this cost, how long will this take, and really dive into this pure agile concept, and sure, there's a blend, there has to be a blend, right? We're going to continue to run hybrid type environments. Does that make sense? What do you think? Right? Have you experienced that as well? Do your executives ask you those, how much is this going to cost? How long will this take? What are the resources you're using, right? Again, please like and subscribe, but what's more important is watch my next video on how do project managers keep resources engaged on their projects in this fast-paced time that we're living in. And that's right here on my channel as well. Check it out. Thank you very much. I'll see you online. Thanks.